Welcome back to the channel. As you can see by the title and the thumbnail, the worst part about being in jail. So if you're new to the channel, around 1990, I became involved in drugs and gang activities. And I wasn't a gang member, but I was hanging with some people that were into that stuff, and I ended up partaking in some of that stuff. But I would go on to become addicted to methamphetamines, and uh, for the next 15 years or so of my life, it was a crazy roller coaster, not just for me, but for my family as well. And I would go on to not only hurt myself, but a lot of other people as well, both physically, mentally, and emotionally. And I tell these stories so that you don't have to go down the same path that I did. And I tell how I transformed my life into being a productive member of society. So let's get into today's story. Uh, First of all, some people have been asking me about some YouTube drama that's been going on with Prison POV Splinter. Shout out to you, homeboy. Uh, you know, and they want to know what I think about it. Now, first of all, I don't have an opinion on it. That's that man's business. And, you know, do what you do, Splinter. Uh, anyways, let's get into today's story. So, this morning I had to get up early and we went to the Barstow Court, which is about an hour away from my home. My daughter had to file some paperwork with the court. It wasn't any type of criminal thing or anything like that, but we ended up, it's all in the same place basically. Looks like they have holding facilities. They have like the superior courts, and then they have like the uh, county clerk and family law and all that type of stuff in there. So while my daughter was doing what she was doing, I was kind of roaming around a little bit, checking out the scene, and I happened around the area of the superior courts, and I was just, I always pay attention to everybody that's around me, and I'm looking at people that are sitting on the bench waiting for their matter to be called into the superior court, obviously fighting their cases from the outside rather than from in custody, which is always way better. But seeing the stress on some of these people's faces, and just, it really took me back to when, I never fought anything from the outside. I always fought from in custody. But I recognized those looks on some of these people's faces, and just knowing that they were looking at, some real time, not necessarily like life sentence type of stuff, but maybe a couple years in the joint. And I really sympathized with them. And that brings us to the worst part of doing time, in my opinion, and that is fighting your case from the inside, especially if you have a heavier case, so to say, like you're fighting a 187 or something with strikes, to where you're looking at multiple years or even multiple decades in prison. And, the way they've always done it, the way that I've seen it, is, you're doing your time, you're, in your housing unit, wherever that may be, whether it's cell living, dorm living, whatever it may be. You hope for cell living just because it's a little more peaceful. Dorms tend to be chaotic. And what they'll do is, like, let's use LA County as an example. Around 3:34 in the morning, they start calling out the court lines Monday through Friday. Bobby, get ready, you're going to court. So you get up, you wash your face and brush your grill and do all the stuff that you do, make your bed, and you get popped out, and they put you down into a court holding tank for transportation. Okay, then you sit down there for a while, sometimes hours, and they give you a sack lunch or something, and eventually they get you, and these transportation cops show up, and they'd be in like all black, and these guys are dicks. Don't they don't want to hear it, they don't care. uh you know Bobby, step out. Somebody else, step out. It could be, ideally you want to be, because you're going to be chained up, you're going to get waist chains, and I'd always try to suck in my stomach so that I could breathe, because they put them things on so damn tight that like it's kind of hard to breathe at times. And like I said, hopefully, you get chained to one of your homeboys, because they're going to do the same thing to him, and then they're going to chain your wrist at your waist, and then they're going to chain you to the guy next to you. And sometimes there could be three guys on a chain. So just, if it's somebody that's, from a different group segment that you guys don't necessarily get along with, like it can be a pain in the ass. And not to mention, if you hit those holding tanks waiting to be transported out, a lot of times there's enemies that get put in those tanks. I never really ran into that situation, but I've seen other group segments like straight up throw down in the holding tank, because the neighborhood that they beef with goes to the same court they do. And in LA County, the way they do it is like you might be going to the Pico substation, to Downey, to Hollywood, Long Beach, wherever your case is out of. And with a lot of these guys, they're from neighborhoods that are in this substation's district, and their enemies also are in that substation's district. So like it gets pretty chaotic, So imagine you're woken up at 3:30, you're given 2 hard-boiled eggs and a thing of milk, basically. That's your breakfast. You get stuck in this holding tank, and then some gang members get into it in this holding tank, which isn't big enough for all the people that are stuffed in there. Then they shoot some pepper spray in there, and you know what I mean? Like it's just a pain in the butt. Like all of my cases were always minor, so it wasn't that necessarily that big of a deal for me, but I really felt for the guys that were like facing life and life without parole and stuff like that. And they were doing this every day for weeks at a time, sometime, especially if they were, at trial. Like a trial could go on for weeks. So you're doing this, you're repeating this process every day. And now keep in mind, so they get you to the substation, they get you unchained, they put you in another holding cell. If you're lucky, you get called on the docket for the morning session, and you're in court at 9. If you're not so lucky, it might be 1:30 after lunch when they start calling you in for court. And, I can't tell you how many times they took me on a dry run. A dry run basically is they call you out for court, but your name ain't on the docket. Spencer, homie. Go back into the holding cell, and we'll transport you back to the county, when we get around to it. If you're lucky, you get in there, you get your stuff done in the morning. There's like a noontime bus that's heading back to the county. You jump on that, and, you're back in your, in your housing unit, some in time for dinner. But a lot of times, like with these guys that are on trial, they're there all day. Court finally adjourns at 4 o'clock or whatever it may be, 4:35, because they're on trial. They end up on the late bus back. So now they didn't get breakfast, they didn't get lunch, and now they're not going to get dinner. They're just getting these sack lunches, like burritos or something at the substation, maybe, and a sandwich when you get back, basically a sandwich and a little thing of juice. And they do this, like I said, the guys that are facing the big time, they may do this for weeks on end. And in my opinion, the system is set up that way to break you, because it's so much easier to just say, you know what, I want to plead guilty so I don't have to continue to do this, and take the deal. You know, you're offering 18 years at 80%. Okay, I'll take it. Because, you know, once you get to prison, you don't have to do this no more, and things are a lot more relaxed. So, yeah, in my opinion, this is definitely the worst part of doing time. You know, some people may say the politics and all that stuff. I'm talking about county jail stuff. And there's a lot of politics in county jail, too. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, it gets cracking in them holding tanks for transportation. But, you know, that the system is set up that way, in my opinion. And I noticed, you know, this was all refreshed in my mind from simply taking a trip to the Barstow court this morning. Shout out to Barstow and everybody up there. Hope everybody's doing good. You know, the thing is, like I said, I seen all these people in the stress in their faces, knowing that they're looking at time. If you just decide to make a change and stop using, then chances are you're not going to be in these situations, and you're not going to need to go to court, and you're not going to end up in custody fighting something to where you have to go through this stuff. You know, I can't tell you how many people I knew that got really long sentences over substance abuse, because you don't necessarily make the best decisions when you're using. So, you know, I hope everybody's week is off to a wonderful start. You know, the thing is, it's all about the foundation that we build and the people that we allow to be around us. Excuse me. You know, ultimately, the people that are around us, we allow them to be. You don't have to let them people be around you. You don't have to be around them people. That's a decision that you make. And that's a decision that could cost you years of your life, you know, and ending up in some sort of criminal activity and getting caught up because you were trying to be a good homie. So, family, fitness, and freedom are the things that allow me to get my life together, and they can help you as well. And, you know, it's all about making good decisions, guys. You know, if you keep good company, it's easier to make good decisions, in my opinion. Uh, you know, if you hang around a bunch of knuckleheads, you're going to do knucklehead stuff. So, uh, that's my video for the day. If you are new to the channel and you enjoy this sort of content, be sure to subscribe. Hit that like button. Also, if you enjoy it, hit the dislike if you don't enjoy it. Either way, though, drop a comment and let me know what you think. What was the worst part of doing time in the county for you? Like I said, transportation and court. Ooh-wee. Man, pain in the ass. But, you know, that's my opinion. If your opinion's different, definitely drop a comment and let me know. Also, you share the video. It really helps us to grow, and it helps to stimulate the algorithm, which gets the video out there better. So, for all of you that have been rocking with me for a while, shout out to you. I really appreciate you all. You guys are the reason I continue to make these videos. I'm definitely not getting rich at it. But, anyways, so yeah, that's the video for the day. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't look at the mountain. Just start climbing.